With more insight, we're joined now by John Englander in Florida. He's a sea level rise and climate change expert. He's also author of the book, Moving to Higher Ground, Rising Sea Level and the Path Forward. John, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Elaine. Glad to be with you.
Well, first off, obviously, I want to get your reaction to the United States rejoining the Paris Agreement. It is something that Joe Biden promised while he was running for president. He appointed John Kerry as a special envoy, and now here we are, signed on the dotted line.
It's great the U.S. is back in. Certainly having a global commitment to slow and eventually halt climate change or global warming is excellent and absolutely necessary if we're to stem the kind of disasters, frankly, that we're seeing in Texas this week without drawing us off topic. But the being part of the goal is wonderful. We must understand, however, that it's just agreeing to a goal to slow the warming to another degree Celsius above the current.
So in a different address a short time ago, President Biden addressed the global community and said that he wanted to earn back our position, speaking of the U.S. trusted leadership. But is it really as easy as telling the world that we're back?
Well, again, you can only achieve success if you have a good goal and it's clear, and then you figure out how to get there. So it's great that we're committed, and that's the important first step. But then how to achieve it is the big question. And with almost 200 different nations, I think 190 are in the agreement to be specific. But how we do that, and of course the United States and China are the two biggest players. Each of those great nations and Europe and the other countries in the world each have to do their part to set what they call the NDIC, the nationally determined individual contributions to the reduction of greenhouse gases. It's a complex situation. But again, we only achieve great things when we set a goal. And it's great to be part of the goal and have the U.S. a player. But that does not solve the problem of how to achieve the goal. And even if we achieve the goal, in the meantime, we're going to have considerably more warming, considerably more weather problems, and considerable sea level rise.
And that's a great point, John, because in this case, does every day, every hour count? I mean, what are some good first steps that the U.S. can do other than just setting goals, any actions they can take? And if you look at the past 4 years under the previous administration, did climate goals come to a stop in the United States? We know that individual states continued some of their commitments, like the state of California. But what did this absence do globally by the U.S.? Did it really cause a lot of damage?
Well, it caused damage because other nations aren't going to step up to the table without the U.S. being there. So in that sense, it caused damage, and it caused disruption of the cooperation that's needed. As you suggested, however, the steps to get the goal, to achieve the goals, are still being discussed. And in fact, that's going to be an ongoing thing. Does every day and every minute matter? Yes and no. I mean, we really need is a plan so that in the next decade or two, that we stop the greenhouse gases, which are causing the warming, which are causing the ice sheets to melt and the sea to rise, and this kind of destabilizing weather pattern all over the world. But like any great accomplishment, and this is going to be the world's biggest challenge ever, to figure out how to transition off fossil fuels, how to alternate supply of energy, including renewables, whether we use nuclear or whatever, lots of important discussions. Different nations will approach it differently, but we have to agree on the goal, and then we have to begin to cooperate on technologies to achieve it. No easy task.
All right, John Englander, we appreciate that insight. Thank you so much for joining us from Florida.